It was a routine Saturday evening on November 1st when the 1625 train departed from Doncaster, bound for London's King's Cross station. The journey, expected to take just over 2 hours, turned into a nightmare halfway through when chaos erupted on board. After leaving Peterborough, Cambridgeshire, passengers suddenly began to scream as a man armed with a large knife started attacking people inside the carriages. Witnesses described scenes of panic, with passengers running down the aisles, many covered in blood, while others locked themselves inside train toilets trying to escape. Calls began flooding into the British Transport Police control room at around 1942 GMT. The first reports were confused. Someone was stabbing passengers on the moving train. One man was seen trying to shield a woman and a child from the attacker and was seriously injured in the process. Another, a member of the train's staff, bravely intervened to protect others. Despite suffering life-threatening wounds, his actions are believed to have prevented many more injuries or even death. Police later called him nothing short of heroic. The driver, Andrew Johnson, a Royal Navy veteran from Peterborough, acted quickly and brought the train to an unscheduled stop at Huntingdon station, about 120 kilometers north of London. His swift decision allowed passengers to escape and emergency responders to reach the scene. "I was only doing my job," Johnson told reporters later, insisting that his injured colleague was the true hero that night. A member of the London North Eastern Railway staff was seen on CCTV attempting to stop the attacker as the train traveled from Peterborough. Armed officers boarded the train within minutes and arrested 2 men. A 35-year-old British citizen was released shortly afterward, without charge, when police confirmed he was not involved. The suspect who remained in custody was later named as 32-year-old Anthony Williams from Peterborough. Williams was charged with 10 counts of attempted murder, 1 count of actual bodily harm, and possession of a bladed weapon. He was also charged in connection with another stabbing incident that had occurred earlier that same day at Pontoon Dock Station in East London. He is set to appear in court on December 1st. Police Superintendent John Lovelace emphasized that the motive remains unclear, but said there was no indication that the attack was an act of terrorism. He said that British Transport Police are leading the investigation and that it would be inappropriate to speculate on the cause of the incident. Despite this, rumors began circulating on social media, claiming the attacker had shouted religious phrases during the assault. Well, I don't blame them if you look at the current situation in the UK. In the year ending March 2025, there were 44,125 detected illegal arrivals, 14% more than in the previous year, and 86% of these arrived on small boats. This fact is from the government website. Ben Habib, former co-leader of Reform UK, said he found it almost inconceivable that the incident was not an act of terrorism. A little more later in the video about the knife crimes, Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp initially called for the police and government to provide an immediate update on what had happened and who had been arrested. He later said the attack highlighted the UK's need for a significant increase in stop-and-search measures and suggested that the government should make greater use of live facial recognition in high streets and train stations to identify wanted or dangerous individuals. Shortly after the attack, Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood urged people to avoid comment and speculation before facts were released by the police. She also said the police had increased their presence on the rail network. Kemi Badenoch, the leader of the opposition, urged the public to wait until more facts emerge, but added that the UK cannot be a country where people are simply going about their daily lives and facing such levels of violent crime. Passengers on board the train described terrifying moments. Amira Astalski, who was traveling with a friend, said it felt like he had a mission to stab anyone he saw. She described chaos and panic as people fell and trampled over one another in their rush to escape. "There was blood everywhere," she recalled. "People were screaming, 'He's got a knife.'" Amira said she saw someone get stabbed just a few rows away before she and her friend managed to flee when the train stopped. "I don't think I'll be able to sit on a train anymore," she admitted. "I feel so vulnerable." Other eyewitnesses described similar scenes. One man, Ollie Foster, at first thought it might be a Halloween prank until he saw an older man blocking the attacker from stabbing a young girl, suffering cuts to his head and neck. Another passenger, Alistair Day, hid with others inside the buffet car, where he helped an injured man by pressing on a wound in his chest until paramedics arrived. Tom McLaughlin, 19, said he heard the alarm sounding and people shouting, "He's been stabbed," before seeing several passengers covered in blood. When the train stopped, He helped one of the victims until he realized the attacker was still loose nearby and had to run for safety. Matt Kingston, 35, was sitting in Coach H when the attack began. He ran from his seat and took refuge in the train's buffet car after hearing shouts of an attack. Once inside, the door closed, but seconds later he saw the attacker walk past on the other side, waving a knife. In front of him was a young man who had been stabbed in the chest. Matt helped by applying pressure to the wound. When the train stopped and armed police arrived, they safely evacuated everyone. Matt continued assisting the injured man until paramedics could take over. At Huntingdon station, locals rushed to help traumatized passengers. Cassie Marriott, who was nearby visiting her mother, said she saw people in shock. There was a young lad standing alone, covered in blood. He said, "It's not my blood." She also helped a terrified teenage girl who had narrowly escaped being stabbed after someone pulled her out of the way. Police and ambulance crews worked quickly to treat the wounded. 11 people were taken to hospital, 10 by emergency services and 1 by private transport. 9 were initially reported to have life-threatening injuries. By Sunday night, only one person remained in critical condition, the train worker who had tried to stop the attack. The Addenbrooke's hospital trauma team in Cambridge treated the most seriously injured victims. 4 people were discharged within 24 hours, while 2 others remained in intensive care. Tributes and messages of support began to pour in from all corners of the country. The UK's Transport Secretary, Heidi Alexander, praised the injured train worker, saying, "He put himself in harm's way, and there are people alive today who wouldn't be if not for his actions." Prime Minister Keir Starmer called it an appalling and deeply concerning incident. The Prince and Princess of Wales also released a statement, expressing their thoughts and prayers for the victims, their families, and the first responders who acted so quickly. The Nottingham Forest Football Club expressed sympathy for fans caught up in the attack on their way home from a match in Doncaster, praising their bravery. The owner, Evangelos Marinakis, also offering financial support to help them recover. The horrifying event has reignited public discussion about knife crime in the UK. Experts warn that poverty, trauma, and lack of access to mental health services are among the factors driving such violence. However, they don't mention the other factors that contribute to extreme violence, such as the attacks and assaults on girls from illegal immigrants. In August, the Labour government introduced a law to crack down on the sale of ninja and samurai swords, making it illegal to manufacture, import, sell, or even privately possess these weapons. And here is where it becomes suspicious. One source claimed, recent data from London City Hall shows that knife crime fell by 19% between April and June this year compared to the same period last year. Another source claimed it decreased by 1%. Now I know UK is not a free speech country. Lucky for me, I'm not in the UK, I can tell the truth. 3 girls were stabbed to death and 10 others were injured in July 2024 in Southport by Axel Muganwa Rudokubana, a 17-year-old. As I mentioned, freedom of speech is not a thing in the United Kingdom. That's why Tommy Robinson organized the Unite the Kingdom rally on the 13th of September 2025. He received support from across the globe. Even Elon Musk gave a speech via Zoom. London's mayor, Sadiq Khan, has faced criticism for failing to curb knife crime since taking office in 2016. Between 2017 and 2024, knife-related offenses in London rose by 23%, according to data from the Metropolitan Police and the Office for National Statistics. Over the summer, Khan pledged a major increase in police funding to tackle shoplifting, robbery, knife crime, and antisocial behavior in London's 20 most affected town centres. The police watchdog is investigating how a force handled an alleged attack in Peterborough and its possible connection to the mass stabbings on the train. The Independent Office for Police Conduct said it is reviewing a complaint from a man who said he was attacked with a knife in Fletton on September 27. Ricky Butcher, 35, told the BBC that he suffered facial injuries while waiting for a taxi outside the Fletton Club. Cambridgeshire Police has also been reviewing its previous contact with the man suspected of the November 1st attack on the Doncaster to London King's Cross train, which was stopped at Huntingdon. Can my UK viewers please tell me, how are you supposed to protect yourself? Self-defense weapons that are legal in UK. Personal alarms. What does this even mean? Keychains. How are you supposed to protect or defend yourself with a keychain? Again from the government website. You can own any pew-pew in the UK as long as you have a good reason. Good reason is a legal term, and who interprets it would be either the local police or the Home Secretary. Generally, the main good reasons for ownership of pew-pews are for target shooting or working with wildlife. Wow, really? The tragedy on the Doncaster to London train reminds us how quickly everyday life can turn to horror, and how the courage of ordinary people can save lives. Our thoughts remain with the victims, their families, and the first responders who acted so courageously. If you found this story informative, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you don't miss our future true crime updates. Thank you for watching, and please stay safe.